Aloha friends, it's Robert Selleck. Welcome to another episode of the Blue Planet Show. In today's show, I'm interviewing Damien, Leroy, and Gwen, the Tutour. We talk about their background, how they got into water sports, wing foil technique and equipment, what inspires them, and how they love to share their stroke with others. You can watch it here on YouTube, or you can listen to it as an audio-only podcast. Just search for the Blue Planet Show in your favorite podcast app. Today is June 19th, 2021, and this month we've been posting 2 videos every day. One video is part of our video contest and one of our Blue Planet videos. So I hope you can join us for the daily videos contest and our Blue Planet daily videos. We're going to decide the contest winner on August 14th with a $2,000 prize. So to enter, please check out the link below and send in your submission. Today's guests, Damien and Gwen, are amazing human beings. They're very humble, but I'm stoked to have them on the show. If you've wing foiled at all, you've probably seen some of their great, amazing instructional videos. They do a great service for the sport. And so without further ado, here are Damien and Gwen. Damien and Gwen, welcome to the Blue Planet Show. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get started a little bit with your background. Maybe Damien, tell us a little bit about, where you grew up and how you got into water sports and all that.
Well, one, thanks so much for having us, and we appreciate it. And how I got into water sports. Well, technically I've been in water sports since I was like 2, but I grew up a ski racer in Colorado, which was on snow, a little bit different. But truthfully, I didn't really get involved with the water much until my teens. I was training in Mount Hood, Oregon, and I would go to the gorge. I'd go to the coast and boogie board, and I thought surfing was way too hard, and boogie board was like the coolest thing ever. And yeah, it just kind of morphed from there. I saw kite surfing. I was a big ski racer, and kite surfing was kind of the unknown. And that's kind of what got me into it, was ski racing, seeing it in Hood River, training at the training in Mount Hood, and kind of visiting the gorge. And I had some injuries ski racing and went to Florida, Naples, Florida, and my best friend in Naples was flying one of these kites, and I didn't know him at the time, and I walked up and he just handed it over and he's like, "Oh, you got to try this." And I was just like, "Whoa, what is this?" And that's kind of where it started, truthfully. I'd seen it.
How long ago was that when you got into kiting?
Man, that's I was 18, so for close to 21 years ago. So I was at the beginning. Things were super, truthfully, even in the gorge, people wouldn't talk about it. It was all windsurfing, and you'd see 1 or 2 guys, which for sure was probably Corey Rossler and maybe Lou visiting or something, but nobody was doing it. Nobody would do lessons. Nobody would talk about it. And my buddy in Naples happened to buy a kite and just learn on his own. And it was awesome. And then I got connected with Cabrina right in the beginning, and I've just been super blessed ever since. And I've been riding with that company for a long time, and just incredible family, incredible group of people, and just super grateful because I was able to become world champion and do all sorts of things in the sport. But more than that, I was able to give back and kind of share the knowledge that I've learned throughout my incredible adventures now back with people, which is kind of the most rewarding thing you can do in life.
And I read that at one point you were a kiteboarding world champion.
Yeah. I was, I kind of just did everything. I tried everything. So racing and speed and freestyle, big air, and everything. I mean, you just do it all when you're just into it. And I won a slalom world championship, which was kind of racing around some buoys in Spain. And yeah, and for me, I just always wanted to challenge myself. That was it. So as long as I could keep challenging myself, I would stay excited about the sport. So it didn't matter what I was doing. I was always excited about it, versus I see a lot of people get really hooked on freestyle and then they just burn out, and it ends quick. So for me, I was lucky to get into foils and just to kind of always keep trying something different. So
Cool. So where did you grow up in Colorado?
I was born and raised in Vail, Colorado, and then I moved kind of when I was 10. We had a fly fishing business in Alaska, so halfway in the summer I would work with my family in Alaska fly fishing, which was a business we owned, and then half the summer I would train in Mount Hood, and then we moved everywhere: Idaho, Montana, you name it, all over the world. So it was an exciting time, and I'm very grateful, and it was a neat childhood, and hopefully I can share it with my new little baby girl.
Awesome. So you're married and have a daughter, or?
Yeah, I just had a little 2-month-old little nugget, and she is just like, I don't know, everybody tells you, and I'll say it to everybody out there, but you don't know until you have a child. But I was so driven in all these directions to do all this stuff, and when you have this like thing that you created, and for sure there's lack of sleep, but it's the most beautiful thing you could ever do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. What about you, Gwen? Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I grew up in France and in Brittany, next to the ocean. So I grew up surfing and windsurfing. My brother kind of like got me into it. And then when I graduated from college and I was about to travel for work, that's when I started kite surfing, because windsurfing was just like a lot of gear. But at the time, if you were a windsurfer, there was kind of like, I don't know, you had your community and you maybe didn't really want to transition to kiteboarding. But for me, I had always been very interested, and what it took was just like traveling and be like, okay, I need to like be able to, like travel with gear and make it a lot more convenient. So that's when I started kite surfing, and I was working as a marine engineer, so on ships, traveling around the world. And I've always been really passionate about the ocean, and so I really wanted, in everything I do, I want to use my skills in a way that either like help people or help the planet. And so as a marine engineer, I joined a nonprofit called Sea Shepherd. It's a ocean conservation nonprofit. And that's when I left France and went to Australia to work on the ships. And I met a girl. I didn't speak English at the time. I met a girl, an American girl. She's now my wife. And that's how I ended up in the US. So I had never imagined I would come to the US. I mean, I remember growing up, like looking at magazines and Hawaii and all of that, and I was like just dreaming. And then like seeing my life now is kind of like unreal. But everything kind of like started like there was a huge shift when I met Damien. So last year I was living in Idaho, and because my wife is from there, and I came to Florida to buy a van. And I had been following Damien for a while on Instagram, and I reached out to him. I was into videography. I had a videography business in Idaho, and I was like, hey, like, do you want to make a video? I'm going to be here for 2 days. But I was thinking, like, this guy is like world champion. Like, he's not going to reply to like me, just like a videographer from Idaho. But he did. He replied. He was like super nice. And he was like, yeah, like for sure. Like, let's do it. So we made a video, and I edited it, and then Damien loved it. And I was like, okay, I think there is more to do. So we were really aligned in our values, and in our mission, which to me is always using my skills in whatever I do to help and to make it like meaningful. So we really connected, and then that's when we started to work on like some videos together to really help people. Especially, it was the perfect timing when winging was kind of like picking up. So we were like, let's create something to help people winging and lives their best life like we do.
That's awesome. So this was back, like, so when did you guys meet? That was about a year ago, you said?
That was last year in September. That's when we met. But then I went back to Idaho, and then came back in Florida in December.
Okay. And so before that, you also did videography for like windsurfing, kite surfing, things like that. Some brands.
Yeah, I would say like not like I was always just like most of my business was just videography, and I was taking anything. I mean, being based in Idaho, I was a lot of it was not involving water sports. But when I would travel to Maui, I connected with people there. I would always try to. That was my passion, But when I met Damien, it just like took it to the next level. So. Yeah.
That's Gwen.
Really cool. I think I saw somewhere too that you were into ultra running and things like that, like endurance sports. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of things in my life. Firefighting. I was in the military, and I did a lot of stuff. And then running. I took running because I was based like for a while. I was like away from the ocean, and I needed something to do. And running was kind of like the most convenient thing because you can do it anywhere. So I picked up running and not being like so passionate about running, but I was like, how can I challenge myself with running? That's pretty much what I can do right now. And so I did a lot of I did a few like 100-mile races, which is very challenging, but it's a great experience where you find yourself in a 100-mile race for sure.
Robert, I have to chime in.
Sure.
Gwen ran 100 miles in firefighting outfit. I'm just letting you know. 100 miles in full firefighting outfit.
Wow. That's hardcore. No doubt.
Yeah.
So when you met Damien, you had already had a YouTube channel and you've been actively making videos for a while, right? Or was that kind of a new thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had been. You talked to Damien?
Oh, I mean, I was just, I mean, both of you, but like, yeah, I was wondering because, to build that kind of a YouTube following and stuff like that, it usually takes more than a year, right?
Yeah. So Damien,
I was just wondering before you guys met, what were you doing? And
yeah, for me, my whole career was obviously competing in the beginning, and as a competitor, any young athlete out there, there's always somebody good coming along. So you got to keep your options open. And for me, I got into sales right away and became a sales rep for some brands. And so I was still competing and working. So I had a full-time job, but I also was still competing, and it kind of was a perfect mesh because makes you work hard at what you do, and also you get the reward of playing and doing the best you can do competitively. And YouTube, yes, I had a YouTube channel forever. I had all the social medias you have when you're an athlete, but never anything big on YouTube. I just did it to do it. I loved making videos. It was like a passion of mine, but I never had enough time and was working probably most of the time. And so I enjoyed capturing unique angles or unique things or building new mounts or kind of capturing something different. That's where my passion was. And I was lucky to ride for companies like GoPro and connect and do really cool things. But my YouTube thing was never a thing. And when I ran into Gwen, he said it best. And that was our personalities, like, we're in sync. We're out to help people. And my whole entire life has been that. And to be able to share and give people their best life and motivate people and get them out and get them up off the couch. And even if it's the simplest thing, it may not be windsurfing or whatever it may be, but just to motivate people to get up, because, I think a lot of people think athletes or, wealthy people or whatever it may be, don't struggle. Everybody struggles. And it's a matter of just surrounding yourself with good people and taking the step to get over that problem, whatever it may be, drinking or depression or who knows. And so that's kind of what stems this. And Gwen is, you know, just the perfect fit of somebody who's same motivation. I mean, we can go to the beach and bang out 10 videos and just like have so much information because we're so passionate about it, because we know it helps people. And that's really it. If it helps one person, it's good enough for us. And for sure, we'd love to help as many people as we can. And it's kind of a privilege to be able to work with somebody like Gwen, who's so passionate. And truthfully, I'd say in 4 months, we created a YouTube channel for sure. It was, I think my YouTube channel was many years old, but just never did anything with it. And now our goal is to help people and inspire. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I really like, you know, like your whole thing about sharing the love and happiness and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's a pretty big goal, but I think, you know, obviously with the kind of passion and enthusiasm you guys have for it, it's great to see that. And yeah, really good quality tutorials too that you guys put together, nice cinematography and all that stuff. And, you know, I've been doing it too for a long time, and I have some help, but obviously you guys are doing it kind of on a whole nother level. I think like the just you know, really good quality, and it's not easy to do, and it's not like you make a ton of money posting free videos on YouTube. I mean, sometimes people think that YouTubers get paid millions of dollars, like, you know, like some of the guys do, but not at the level we're at, right? It's probably just enough to buy all the gear that you need to buy, right?
I think we're probably still in the hole for sure, but I mean,
Yeah.
this is a passion project for both of us for sure. And Gwen's truly the just incredible. I mean, he sees it all and kind of puts it together, and I'm just OCD and I just can't stop talking. So that's about it.
I think what was special when I met Damian. I was only like we were together for just one weekend when we first met, and what kind of like what I found like special was like Damian was like so like connected with everybody at the beach, and I think that's when I saw like the potential of just like being able to help people on any level, because sometimes, you know, if you are like Damien, like world class rider, world champion, you might be a bit disconnected from the people at the beach. But Damien is so like, you know, like you go to the beach and Damien is always going to be helping anybody. I mean, I think the first weekend, like there was a guy that he was getting into foiling and had maybe some issue with his foil, and Damien went to him and helped him getting his foil set up. And I'm like, this guy is like, you know, world champion and a rock star, and he's going to help a guy that, you know, I mean, I think to me that was like very special, and I was like, okay, like if we are gonna be able to do something like very special, and help people, and it's gonna be meaningful, you know.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, yeah, you guys are doing a great job. So actually, let's talk a little bit about kind of getting into wing foiling and like, you know, common issues you see people have, and like tips for beginners, basically, you know, people that want to get into it, they're not really sure what to do. And what do you tell people that are just starting out?
I would just say, I mean, for anybody out there, look, everything you do in life that's new, you're unsure, right? So like you got to take a chance. And all I'd say is most people that take a chance with this, they actually really enjoy it. And I would say just get yourself a wing, and you can play with it on the beach. You can play with it anywhere there's wind, on land, land boards, skateboards, snow, water, SUP. You don't need to buy all this stuff right away. Just get yourself a wing and start playing with it. And to me, you know, your kids can play with it. You can jump off stuff, obviously within reason. But yeah, that's kind of my tip, is just give it a shot. It's I think you'll be shocked with what doors it can open. That's first piece of advice.
Yeah. So we're just watching this video here on YouTube. Like, I mean, obviously it's good to just watch a lot of your instructional videos before trying it. But I think a lot of times, yeah, one of the mistakes that people make is just going in the water right away before they learn basically to handle the wing, and they think they can just do it. And then, you know, every time you fall in, getting back on the board, you get really tired quickly, and then you can't. It's hard to learn it on the water. So, you know, the more you can figure out the wing handling on land, the better. But what are some pointers you have? Like, it seems like beginners always have a hard time with the catching the tip of the wing and then the wing flipping over. Like, how do you coach people to avoid that?
Yeah, I think the biggest tip that we kind of have passed around that's very helpful for everybody is we always just say whatever direction you're going, like punch the water or punch the ground. And what that does with your backhand is make that wing fly up, because most people just pull in. It's kind of like, I'd say, kite surfing or other things. You know, everybody's reaction is to pull in, and if you actually kind of steer your backhand, it makes that wing fly above your head. So it has a lot to do with just kind of slowing down your front hand and steering with your backhand. But we always would say, you know, punch the water or punch the ground if you feel like that wing tip's going to catch, because all you're really doing is just turning that wing to lift up. And that was a really kind of helpful one. And I'll be frank with everybody. I mean, I struggled for like 3 days straight, and I consider myself pretty skilled, and I got murdered at this. I didn't grow up windsurfing, so it was like all new to me. And I did exactly what you said. I went straight into the water, and I was like, I can figure this out. And I couldn't even like get up on the board because I couldn't fly the wing. And, you know, it took that process of just getting beat to realize that I should fly the wing a little bit more and build my way into it.
Yeah. It's probably something you just have to pretty much do, is get humbled a little bit to start with, you know. So maybe if you think you can just do it, just go in the water, get humbled a little bit, and then you'll figure out that you should learn it on land first, you know. Like, we don't really need to tell people that, right?
An interesting thing is in the
Gwen's
video
experience is awesome.
in the video that's playing right now, we see Damien and Kelly. Kelly is my sister-in-law, and Kelly grew up in Idaho. She has never done any water sports. She has never really been in the water, like no surfing, no wind sport, nothing in the water. And when I came here, you know, I started winging, and she got interested, and she wanted to learn. And now she's doing it, and it's been like, I don't know, about 5 months, but within 3 months, like, she was like up and foiling both ways, and she learned foiling with the wing. So, you know, sometimes the easiest way is definitely e-foiling or behind a board, but she just went straight to the wing. And so that, you know, it shows that it's possible. You don't have to have experience doing something else. But for sure, like, you know, don't expect this sport to be easy. It's hard for anybody. But the truth is, if you put in the time and you keep trying and you go, you know, whenever you can, you will get it at some point. So
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy sport to learn, but it's definitely not impossible to learn, obviously, and especially if you have, you know, some instructions and stuff like that. People, yeah, it's funny because people, when they start to foil, they always think like, oh yeah, I watched a bunch of videos, so I can see what they're doing. I can do it, you know, especially people that already know how to surf and stuff like that, and then they pretty much get humbled the first time they try it, you know. But it's definitely very different from surfing, and even with a windsurfing background and knowing how to foil already, you know, it took me a while to learn it. Although I think for me, because I already knew how to foil and I could windsurf, it was a pretty quick learning curve. But yeah, I mean, if you have no experience with any wind sports and so on, then yeah, it's basically like you have to learn two things: foiling and wing handling together, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Gwen, he was funny when I first met him. Literally the day I met him, I think I gave him my wing gear. He's never tried it. And I'm like, I don't know this guy. He seems awesome, super genuine. I was like, take my gear. And I just gave him all my wing gear. And it was blowing like 30 knots. And he just went and he gave it a shot, and that's how it started. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, to me, like the most important when you do anything is like going out there and doing it. Like I never like wait until things are perfect to start. You know, like it's kind of like if you want to get into running, but you are not gonna go on a run until you have the new shoes, the GPS watch, the running shorts. Like for me, I'm like I want to start running. Okay, let's do it. And maybe I'm gonna go out with the wrong shoes. Okay, well I figure it out on the way, and along the way I make it better. But sometimes I think one mistake that can be done is just like never starting because of waiting to have everything line up perfectly. I think to me it's better to start and have the wrong gear, have the wrong condition, but go out there and learning by making mistakes is actually a great way to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Sometimes people, I mean, and I think the same is true with being on YouTube. You know, sometimes people think they have to have like a recording studio and perfect camera gear and whatever. But really, a lot of times, like the way I started was just like shooting some shooting some videos on an iPhone and then posting it. And it's more about creating content that's helpful to people, I think is the most important thing, really, you know. Not that having perfect video, but you guys definitely do a good job on both ends. And actually, so Gwen, I'm gonna stop the screen sharing here for a minute. But for you, it's I think 6 p.m. here in Hawaii. It's like noontime, so it's a little bit early to drink beer. But I noticed that you're drinking beer, and you showed us the beer can earlier. So can you show that?
So this is really cool. It's a Cabrina Drifter beer. It's a collaboration between Estuary Brewery based in Charleston and Cabrina. And basically it's a program called Project. So it's a project called Newfound Freedom. And basically it's to help people with disabilities, maybe amputee or mental disabilities or any kind of disability, to help them get into kiting and winging. So all the proceeds from this beer is going to finance this project. And so last weekend we were actually in Charleston, and there was 11 participants, a lot of them from special forces that got hurt, and maybe they are like missing a leg, two legs. And we got them into kiting and winging, and it was like amazing. So yeah, this beer is just to finance this project, and so it should be available in many places. But for now, I think you would have to go to the brewery Estuary. It's a Estuary, Estuary Brewery Company in Charleston.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. You know, earlier I heard like birds chirping and stuff like that. Are you like in the forest or something? Like it sounds like you're like out in nature or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm outside on the deck, but I'm here in Cape Hatteras with Evan Netch from Cabrina. We are filming some content with Kiahi and a bunch of riders.
He's with the real professionals.
Cool. I saw Kiahi a couple of weeks ago on the North Shore. He's on the East Coast now.
He's here. He's here. We are like doing some filming, and unfortunately this week we have no wind, but hopefully wind picks up.
Nice. Okay. How come Damien's not there?
He didn't make the cut.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I mean, let's talk a little bit about then more advanced stuff in wing foiling. So I saw you recently just posted a video on doing 360s, right? So I'm gonna pull that one up here. How to do a 360 video. So so yeah, let's talk a little bit about the progression and kind of tricks you're working on, and maybe walk us through this one.
Yeah, so I mean, I just learned the 360. Damien, Damien get me into like trying new stuff, and actually, like the funny thing is, often when we make a video about something, I'm filming, I'm behind the camera, but I actually like learn a lot from just filming it, and then I go out there and I try it. Kind of like we made a video recently. It was how to walk the dog kiting. It's when you dump your kite in the water, you are foiling, you dump the kite, and you keep riding, and then you launch the kite again. I filmed it, and then right after, Damien was like, all right, and now Gwen is going to go out there and try it. And that was not even like part of the plan. He just said it at the end of the video. But then I went out there and tried it. So yeah, it's really fun. Like filming with Damien, I actually also learn a lot of stuff, and I go out there and try it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just saw, Damien, you have your little, it's your daughter, right?
Yeah, so this is the reason why I'm not up there. And the truth is, Gwen's been teaching me stuff, so he's actually teaching Evan everything up there. So really, Gwen has taken over. He is the cream of the crop. I'm now a father. This is little Ava. She's our little nugget, and I'm super blessed. I have a wonderful family, beautiful wife, and so yeah. So Gwen's teaching Kiahi a few things.
Not quite.
So Gwen, you have kids also? You're a father?
No.
Not yet.
No. I'm
Okay.
I'm married, but no kids.
No. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I find whenever you have, like, I talked to about this about with Keen to Wild as well, and we said that when you talk about wing foiling and get all into it and think about it and stuff like that, then you get on the water, it's like everything kind of comes easier if you have the right mindset to start with, So we're talking about, like, if you're on the way to the beach listening to a podcast or something, like a conversation like this kind of gets your mind in the right place and gets you kind of stoked. And then probably the same thing when you're shooting a video and then getting the instructions and then trying it for real, right? So you guys been making pretty quick progress with the wing foiling. I mean, like we were talking about how it's not that easy to learn, but once you figure it out, you progress pretty rapidly, it seems like, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I here's what I would say, and we spoke a little bit about it, but I would say there's a lot of people that are nervous about going to the beach and struggling and looking bad because they may have been a good kite surfer, maybe a good something, whatever. They're just worried about looking bad. And I always am like, man, everybody's been there. So just go be there and you'll progress. And I say that truthfully. And the best thing you do is just go talk to people, because everybody's usually willing to kind of help or give a tip because they like to share the same passion. You, myself, Gwen, everybody likes to share information and help somebody. So I think you'd be surprised. And maybe a lot of people are shy to talk to somebody. And I would always say, man, talk to people, ask questions, and just watch it, learn, maybe you'll get some information. But I would say, yes, I mean, the wing foiling sport is just evolving super fast. I mean, the first thing I wanted to do right off the bat was backflips, and I'm still working on the backflip because it's kind of one of the scariest tricks I've done, period, across the board in everything I've ever done. Just because it's, I don't know, the kite, you can hang from things. The wing is just like, I feel like there's just nothing there to hang you. So it's pretty wild if it goes wrong. But it's the sport's evolving incredibly fast. You're doing it in places nobody would think, and you're pulling surfers in that are foiling, and now they're like, well, it's windy, why not get a wing? So it's completely doable in intercoastals, lakes, gusty places, mountains, absolutely endless. So that's why it's super unique, and it's just a great thing you can share with the whole family.
Yeah, I think there is like a unique like opportunity right now to like get into winging. And the amazing thing is, most people are like getting into winging, so everybody's progressing together. It's a new sport, so I think it's really fun like right now to get into it, because you figure out things like in the same time as everybody, you know, where if you maybe start in 10 years, then I mean, yes, there will be like more resources to like, you know, progress, but I think it's really fun to be like progressing as the sport is progressing as well.
For sure. And just to have the gear improving so much, like the foils are getting and the wings are getting so much better so quickly. So actually, so let's talk a little bit about the equipment. So let's start with the foils. Like, what kind of foils do you use, and what do you recommend starting on, and what are you using now, and what's the progression?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question. I would say, look, um, personally, I love, I think Cabrina foils and lift foils, they're some of my favorite foils in the industry for sure. I would recommend to most people out there, we live in Florida, so winds are a little bit lighter, but I would even say no matter where you are in the world, it wouldn't hurt to have a wing around, call it the 250, 300, or 2000 square centimeter or bigger wing, which is a very large wing. And the reason why is if you're not very good, you're at least going to have a wing that kind of gets you up the soonest as possible. The other kind of big mistake a lot of people make is maybe they have a 12-foot board and they throw a foil on it and they're really struggling to even get up when it's windy. And the truth is, you have a huge surface area that's sticking to the water. So you actually kind of want the shortest thing you can get within reason with high volume or high leader, so you can actually stand on it and float and it's stable. That's the easiest, in my opinion, for learning for foil and board. As far as wings, I mean, the Cabrina wings I think are absolutely awesome. We have two different versions, and personally, I like them both. I think the X2 has incredible low end, so the 6s and 7s are incredible in the low end, and then the Mantis is like a wave riding efficient machine for sure. But I think, you know, truthfully, I'd say wings, you could just get your hands on something and go for it. Foils, definitely, it changes things up. As you get better, you go to smaller foils. And poor Gwen, I throw everything at him. I'm like, try this, do this, do that. And he's just like, whoa, wow, look at this. And he's doing all these tricks. And I don't know, it's pretty wild to see how he went from here's a wing, Gwen, try it in 30 knots, and it's probably too big, but that's all we had. And now he's like doing 360s and he's learning everything. And then he learned the 360. A video's coming soon, but 180, 360. I don't even know what it's called.
Jibe.
What is that? So it's awesome.
Yeah. So wait, what is that move you were talking about? The 360?
The air jibe.
Oh,
actually.
air.
So the funny thing is, you know, right now, like for like, you know, winging like tricks, you don't find a lot of videos, and so when I first did an air jibe, I actually didn't really know that there was a trick, and that's just a transition that I would do kite foiling, and I was like, I think I could do it with a wing, so I just tried it. And then later I found on YouTube like, it's called an air jibe, and there is a video about it, so I watched it and it definitely helped me. So now we made a video about it because we just learned like that move, and so it's fresh in our mind, and we can really give good tips to people. But the next thing that we need to tackle is the flaka, and Damien has been like definitely like doing it like the past I don't know, like couple of weeks. Like he has been like landing like so many. So the next video coming will be the flaka.
Yeah, I finally is just starting to figure out to land them, but I've done like probably hundreds of them where I crashed. So for some reason I have. So what's the secret to pulling off the landing with the wing? It seems like it's always hard to get the wing right on the landing for me.
Yeah, I would say So my tips for the Flacca would be, and I'm not a professional yet at it, but I would say I was always trying to just go massive. So I was just trying to do a massive 180. And truthfully, I would say, like I know in anything learning, I would always take small steps. So I would say just get the foil out of the water, flip your board 180, and you don't need to go massive. You're just trying to get the motion and learn the motion. So if you can get the board to go 180, the next tip is when you swing that wing across into the wind, you want to try to have it as level with the horizon and actually pull your front hand kind of close to you, which kind of levels the wing off. I would always kind of keep it out in front of me, and you just get backwinded and just get, smoked and flip over. But I would say just, really think of the kind of how the air works hitting the wing. And I think that'll really change it. The next best thing I would say is, man, try it like 50 times on the beach, because you're going to really learn what to do or what not to do with that wing when you spin it across in the wind. So.
Yeah, the tip that Gunnar gave me that really helped is just to keep the wing at keep it at the level of your head. That like don't get it up here, keep it like this, and then that way you can spin it around. Like you pretty much have to bring the wing through the wind. You can't really do it over your head because then it just pulls you backwards. Yeah. So it's like keeping the wing low. That seems to have helped me. And then like you said too, like not doing like a huge air. You don't have to be super high for it. Yeah, that's a good tip too. And then spinning the board first, and then having everything else follow it. Yeah.
Yeah, just build your way into it. I think when I first saw Gwen showed a video or something, I was like, oh my gosh, that thing's sick. The first thing I did was try to do it in the air, because I'm like, well, for sure I can do 360s all the time, and that was like total wipeout. And I was like, okay, maybe I should build my way into this. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun for us. We're learning too, and that's such a passion for us, because it's, every day you can learn something new, and then you get to share it with people and share your mistakes, which is brilliant, because we're making every mistake just like everybody else. And our goal is to be like, we did all this wrong. Try this. So
yeah, cool. So what about boards? What kind of boards are you using, and what was the progression on the boards? Of what do you recommend for beginners, and then how do you progress to where you are now?
Yeah, I would say boards I'd totally recommend. I would say general size, I would say for a beginner would be anywhere from 5'4" to like, I don't know, 6'5" maybe. And I say that's a little bit longer, but I say it because there are a lot of people that are very large out there, and you want to make sure it's within reason to them. But I would say leader wise, I would say is the most important, and with like stability. So I would say anywhere from 100 liters. If you're, I would say 185 pounds, that's pretty solid, all the way up to, if you're 250 pounds, we're talking 130 plus liter board, just to give you that stability to learn the sport a lot easier. Now, as you get better, that board's, well, here's what I would say too, that's super important. As you get better, yes, you can go to all the small boards and do all the tricks. But I would even say for most people, those boards are absolutely perfect for your longevity. And the reason I say that is every day you can go, and if it lulls out or the wind dies, you're still kind of milking your wing in and you're standing there going. If you have a sinker board, you're swimming back. So you're always kind of up and doing it versus climbing up or trying to get up. And that's very helpful. As far as like my favorite boards, I would say the Carina macros are awesome. Lyft has an amazing wing boards as well, but I would say it's just kind of coming up with the right size for your weight. And for me, I'm 155 pounds, and I would say to stand on around 70 liters is perfect for me, to fully stand, balance on it and go. And then I would say, obviously you can go a lot smaller, all the way down to 28 liter boards, but it's definitely changes everything. So.
Yeah. To go on a tiny sinker board, you have to have steady, strong winds, right? So it's hard to do that when the wind starts to drop off and stuff. Okay. So where do you, what does the future hold? Like, where do you see the sport going, and what do you see for equipment? And do you have any ideas or things you would like to see in the future?
I'll jump in quick and then I'll let Gwen jump in here because I'm always talking. That's my issue. I'm sorry, guys. But, I was just talking to a guy on the phone yesterday, and I see this at resorts. I know this sounds crazy. Ski resorts, open area resorts, snow, because the easiest way to learn this would be on the snow or the ice, like for sure. Because you're actually, I would say land boarding, but I would even say if people ski or snowboard, it's the perfect way to learn it because you're already kind of going. You just stand there and there's not a lot of surface tension, so you can just go. So you can learn the wing and you can actually do this. And I could see people going across sliders and hitting kickers, and I just see it. I see that potential. But I would say the biggest thing it does that's super unique to me is it takes places that you never thought you would ever wing an opportunity to go play. And what I mean by that is kite surfing, as professionals can get into some pretty crazy places and gusty winds. But I would say the winging, you can kind of go anywhere, and you can really, it opens the doors to a lot of incredible opportunities. So I think this sport is going to boom for sure.
Yeah, I was living in Idaho before I came to Florida, and I was kiting on a lake. It's a big lake and it's amazing, but people cannot get into kiting there because there are trees everywhere. The launch is super sketchy. There is no way you can learn. There is no beach. Like it's right like the trees and then the water. Often the wind from where you have to stand from, the wind is offshore, so you have to, and then the wind drops, and so like you end up swimming with all your gear out there. And that's where I see like winging is going to be a game changer. So like in places like this, like a mountain lake, now people are going to be able to start winging because it's a lot safer. If the wind dies, you are on this big bond, you can swim back, no problem. If it's gusty, no problem. So it's gonna open definitely like new locations and make it possible to a lot of people that would have never considered kiting. Kiting is intimidating, and I think winging is really gonna appeal to a lot more people just because winging is, I wouldn't say it's easier, but I would say like it's a lot safer when you, or a lot more beginner friendly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And actually, I wanted to give a shout out to a YouTube watcher. His name is Joe Skill. He's a paraplegic. He's actually the one who said I should interview you, Damien. And he's been watching all of your videos and all my videos, and he's totally into winging, even though he's in a wheelchair. And so I wanted to ask you, Gwen, like you said, you went and did that, with disabled people. So how do you get introduced to someone that's a paraplegic? How do you introduce them to these sports?
So
What do you do?
yeah, we this past weekend we had somebody that was missing two legs, and so we just had him on a stand-up paddle. He was able to sit, so he was just sitting on the stand-up paddle with the wing, and he had a lot of fun. I mean, like for him, it's something like he would have never considered. So if you are already into like wing foiling, you might think, okay, doing the wing on a stand-up paddle is not that fun. But for him, it was an incredible experience that he would have never been able to do. He was also, we introduced him to kiting also, and he was doing body drag and had so much fun. So it's not about in this case, it's not about having him like the only way to do it is having on the wing, up on the foil. No, there is in between. There is a lot of way to do it that is still gonna be really fun for him because being on the water, being connected with the wind and everything is an incredible experience.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, I was also thinking, actually, Joe was saying that he was thinking about doing it with a small wing in a sport wheelchair and just like on, on a parking lot or something like that. And I thought that sounded kind of interesting too, an interesting way to do it. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, he'll be going and doing backflips in no time.
Yeah, sounds like he's into it. So let's talk a little bit about the YouTube channel. So what are your goals? What's your strategy? Like what, I know you said you're putting out a new video twice a week. How do you do that, and how do you keep that motivation to I mean, I know it's a lot of work too, right? To produce all the video and the editing and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the motivation we have plenty of motivation. Gwen and I can go down and just unleash, because there's so much information out there that we can share with people. And it's not that we can't, anybody can really, and we just have the opportunity to be able to work good together. And I would say truthfully, I've never met somebody and like Gwen, because he's so quick and motivated, and he sees the biggest thing I would say that I would say most people struggle with in video is, what is your direction? Like, what is your goal? I would say, Robert, you're actually brilliant at it, but you have a reason behind everything, and you put it together, and it's a presentation that people want to capture that info. Gwen, same thing. He has a vision. When he makes a video, it's going to be, this is the message. And I think that's kind of the best thing you can have, is just have an opening, a middle, and an end, and a message. And so our goal is to share as much info with people. And I would say, there's days we go and we do, I think truthfully, our max day was 10 videos in a day, but in a 4-hour period. Now, is it all the footage in that day? No, we've captured the footage throughout times doing different things. But I would say, I think the motivation is there big time, because it's so exciting to hear, people that just are living their best life because of it, or just even if they gave it a shot and they're enjoying it, and they're struggling, but they're enjoying it. To us, that's everything. I mean, life is about living. It's hard to get up sometimes, and it's hard to look at the positives, and I think that's the reason why we're trying to pump them out as many as we can to just help people.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, just like an hour ago, I was filming at the beach, and somebody came up to me and asked, like, are you Gwen? Like, I just watched your video, and actually it was like the dog jibe, and now he just did the dog jibe, and now he's getting into the 360. But like this, like, we really see that we are making a difference. People are commenting on the YouTube channel all the time, and we go to the beach and people are coming to us. So and honestly, like, the biggest thing I think that is keeping us going is that we enjoy the process. We wanna help as many people as possible, but we don't have a goal of, I don't know, getting like 1 million subscribers, or it would be great, but the truth is, even if we don't, we are still gonna do it, because that process is what we enjoy. So we are doing it, and that's fulfilling in itself.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that happens to me a lot too. Like when I go down to the beach, I mean, not even just in Hawaii, anywhere in the world, really, like in Holland or in Australia, people come up to me and like, oh, I learned how to stand a paddleboard from you or whatever. So it's pretty cool to get that kind of feedback, for sure. But here's that video about how to duck jibe. So maybe we can break that down a little bit, like the learning how to duck jibe, because people have been asking me about that. Like, what are you doing? How do you do that?
This one's classic, because that gentleman who's in this video, we call him the legend. His name's Harry Andrews, and he truly is a legend. I mean, this guy, he's done it all, and I've been lucky enough to know him for many years. And when I say done it all, learned to paraglide together, race motocross, absolutely. The guy does everything, and he does it like, you know, we talk about Kiahi and Gwen and Evan and all these professional kite surfers. You watch Harry at the beach, he's like doing all these board offs and flipping it around and putting it on his feet. I mean, the guy's incredible, but we're lucky enough to have him here in Jupiter. He's a dear friend of mine. And one day he's like, "Oh, Damien, I'm doing the duck jibe." I'm like, what the heck is a duck jibe? I've never even heard of a duck jibe. And he's out there practicing it. And so the next day I'm like, "Gwen, dude, Harry's doing the duck jibe. I don't even know what it is." So I went and tried it. And I'd go into these downwind turns going like 100 miles an hour, and the wing would hit me and flip and twist. And I was like, total disaster. But my tips to everybody trying to learn how to duck jibe would be, you know, try it on the beach. Again, I always say that, but you can really learn your hands and what to do with the wing on the beach first. And you can, you know, watch these videos and Gwen slows it down so you can actually see the process of the wing and how to drop it down. But the most important thing is you're gonna crack off downwind because you need to take the tension out of the wing. But you kind of can't crack off too straight downwind, or else you're actually going to have a backwind issue. But I would say you need to be going downwind, and that's going to help take some pressure off. And then you just kind of steer your way around, and you're going to drop that wing down, and it's going to circle around. But I would say the biggest tip to me, I would say, is there's a downwind movement, and that's, you got to take the pressure off that wing for it to spin.
Yeah. Releasing the pressure from the wing. And then I like to, like the back handle, I like to move my backhand forward to the second handle so I can grab the very back handle with my backhand. And then I look for the front handle. I always, that's like, if you miss that grabbing the front handle on the other side, then it's really hard to pull it off. So the quicker you can grab that and get your hand on the front handle again, then it's,
yeah. And some people actually pre-twist or pre-turn. So, yeah. And I would say everybody's different, right? So some people have comfortable things, like Gwen learning a new trick off of kite surfing because it just felt comfortable. You know, if you feel comfortable, maybe twisting your handle before you go into it, try it, because it may work for you. It may not work for others, but you know, it never hurts to try some of these things to better your progress that way.
Yeah, right on. Here we get another ad. So these ads are obviously pretty annoying for people who watch the videos, but that's how YouTubers get a little bit of money from the videos, right? So here he's grabbing the wing pretty far in the back, grabbing the front handle. Sometimes, yeah, like when I crash, it's usually because I don't grab the front handle right. Like that seems to be one of my issues.
Which is nice on like the wing that we are using, Damian and Harry and I, the Cabrina X2, like the handles are very wide, and actually like I really love that because it makes grabbing the handle in this case like a bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then one of the advantages of this move too, like in light wind, if you do it right, you can do it completely without getting backwinded. Versus sometimes if you do a regular jibe and you're moving downwind, you like the apparent wind can actually be against you, so you can kind of get backwinded sometimes in a light wind jibe. So I kind of like doing it in really light wind conditions sometimes.
Yeah,
a good move to learn.
That's what we ride in. So that's we'd love to try it in high winds.
So in Florida, what kind of conditions do you have usually? Like, what are the winds like, and how's the what kind of conditions do you have usually?
I'd say we get 5 to 30. I would say. I mean, we used to have a lot of cold fronts that were really powerful, and we'd have 30 plus. But I would say, on average, it would be a good day. It'd be like 12 to 25, maybe, or in the 20s. You know, that'd be a magical day. So it's perfect for learning, but it's we don't really get the cold fronts like we used to get. We still do, but it's definitely less and less and less. So the wind is not like Hawaii where it can sustain 30 to 40 all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different for us here on Oahu. On Maui, just the way the island is shaped, the wind, it kind of funnels the wind between the two sides of the island. But on Oahu, it's usually like about 10 knots lighter than on Maui. You know, when we can barely get going, it's already cranking on Maui, you know. So it's
Yeah.
not, we're not, it's not quite always, but at least we do have steady trade winds. And yeah, luckily global warming hasn't affected the trade winds, it seems like. Plus on wing foiling, you can really get going in less wind than you need for windsurfing or even kiting, I think. Like or in gusty winds, it just works better because yeah, if you have to wait for a couple minutes for the next gust, and once you're up on the foil, it's pretty easy to keep it going even in really light winds, right?
Yeah, and that's, you nailed that perfectly. Is, you know, you're in a lighter wind spot, we're in a lighter wind spot, and I would say across the country there's a lot of places that are light winds, but even gusty. And I would say to throw a kite up 100-meter line or 100 feet line and have kites fall on and disasters, it's just so easy to grab a wing and give it a shot. And I think, you know, Gwen nailed that earlier, but that's why it's so achievable for people. And you truly can go live your best life and try something new and learn something new, because we all like learning, and that's what it's all about. So as we learn how to do duck drives and all these things that this legend here brings to us, and we're like, what was that? What are we doing? Okay, we're going to try that.
That's great. So, in terms of the skills that you have, would you say a lot of, oh, that was a
So
challenging
yeah,
one. I'm just watching the video
this
here, but
this
the skills that you have, like how much of it is like talent, like natural God-given talent, and how much of it is just practicing and doing it over and over and over and screwing up until you can finally do it?
Well, I mean, I would say for most people, look, everybody's been given a talent, and I would say for sure there's people out there that are significantly, you know, more, you know, advanced, or they've been given stronger muscles or whatever it may be. But I would just say to anybody out there, look, yes, you know, you put a lot of time in the water, you're going to get good at it. A lot of people skiing, I always remember this. It's a good analogy, but everybody skiing would say, man, you know, you're really good at skiing or whatever. And I'm like, well, I skied every single day, literally through the summer, every single day, every day I could. And they would only go on a ski trip 3 times a year. You're only going to be as good as how much effort you put into whatever you do. So, you know, make sure to put effort into something, and just like Gwen or yourself, you know, you study it, you learn your craft, and you'll be incredible at it. So I would say I'm very blessed, and I've been very skilled, and but I would say I'm no different than anybody out there. And I say that truthfully, because you can learn something if you put your mind to it. And I don't care if you're 200 pounds. I just think anything is possible if you really just put your mind to it.
I
Gwen?
agree.
Uh,
I mean, he's teaching Kiahi right now.
yeah, no,
Fooling
not
him.
quite.
So do you ever like, I mean, I think a lot of it is mental, you know, like some days you go out and everything's just like perfect, you're in tune with the conditions and your equipment, everything's perfect and you feel like Superman, you can do anything, you can pull off all kinds of moves, and then the next day you go out on the same equipment, the same conditions, and you're like a total kook again. So does that ever happen to you? And like, is there anything you can do about that or your mindset?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you nailed it if you kind of opened it that way. But I would say, look, you know, you always got to go into every day, every session, every work appointment, every time with your wife or your loved one, whatever it is, always be looking for the positive in whatever the situation is. Because you're spot on. I mean, for everybody out there, Gwen and I go down to the beach and we may have learned a new trick, and then the next day you can't do it because it didn't click again. And that's normal, and that's totally fine, because maybe your muscles are fatigued, or maybe you just are a little off, or the conditions are a little bit harder, or whatever it may be. That's part of the learning process. So if you get it and you get up winging one day, don't think tomorrow you're going to be winging exactly the same. It will still keep coming, but I think a lot of people get frustrated, or they get, beat down. And I would just say, look, be open to, maybe it wasn't the perfect conditions. Maybe I just wasn't on my game today. So it's 100% mental, and it's how you look at it, and always have a better outlook on whatever it is, whether it's winging or life or depression or whatever. Just, you got to have a better outlook. And I think if you change that mentally, and your whole life and work and relationships and winging and will just absolutely blow your mind. You will change. You will surround yourself with good people. All of a sudden, opportunities will come. You'll learn the duck jibe like I did. And that was just because I was surrounding myself with good people. And Gwen did the 180, whatever it was called. I still don't even know what it's called, but that's how I learned it. I didn't think of it, but it was a great opportunity to see it. Wow, this is great. I'm looking at the positive. Let's give it a shot, versus I'll never do that. I'm not going to try it. I can do these other things that I'm really good at. I'm going to keep doing them. Instead, I'm like open to try it. Why not? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I crash. I look like a moron. I crash all the time. And a lot of people are nervous to crash or look bad. And I would say, look, that is life, learning, making mistakes, and your mistakes lead you to be a better person in relationships and work and business and you name it. And that's how you learn. So I've made a lot of mistakes, so I get pretty good at things.
Yeah, I think I would say, like, sometimes you kind of have to, like, detach yourself from the goal, or like still have a goal but not be so, like, the fulfilling part isn't only achieving the goal. The process should be fulfilling, and if you can do that, then whatever the outcome is, you're going to be stoked, because you are in the process. So for me, I just see it as like, however, like, frustrating it is that sometimes, like, you are not as good as the day from before, but you are still out there, and that's the process. And so that, try to get that being fulfilling, and the outcome, well, the outcome is good or not, that's okay. But if you put in the time and you go out there and you have fun and you enjoy the process, then it will be good.
Yeah.
That's
You
absolutely
still
perfectly said. Yeah.
you still learn something even when you're a kook and nothing's working. But let's say, do you have any pointers for someone that's stuck in that negative mindset or whatever, kind of getting upset with themselves, or being kind of stuck in a negative mindset? How can you turn that around and be more positive and optimistic? Or, I mean, it's obviously you learn a lot better when you have a positive mindset, right?
Yeah, we joke, but we'll text you Harry's phone number so everybody can call Harry, and they can personally get advice. No, I would just say, look, everybody goes through this. Just know that you're not the only one, and the ways to get out of it is to say yes. Just say yes to something. Get up and do something, and it can be anything. It can be go for a walk. It can be just get up and do something, because if you just keep dwelling on it, you will just put yourself lower and lower in whatever it may be, or you'll get deflated and you just don't want to try anything. You don't want to do anything. And I would say the best thing you can do is change your scenery, change whatever you're doing. Get up, do something different. Take your brain off it, take a break, relax, whatever it may be. Just change that, but know that there's the process. I mean, the process that Gwen speaks about is everything. I mean, I went to Hawaii. I think I have the speed record with Alex Aguirre in Hawaii. Maybe, I don't even know if that stands, but that was a process to get a speed record in Hawaii. It was not about getting a speed record. It was about going out with my buddy and going as fast as I can. And his daughter did it. And it was just incredible experience. And did we know we could do it? We didn't even know if the wind was going to be perfect. We thought it would be, but who knows? It's wind. And you just don't know. So just get up and always look at the glass, full. Just there. You just If your car breaks down, look, it ran good until today. It's okay. Get it fixed. Moving on. Look at the positive. Don't look at my life's over. Oh my gosh. There's no gain from that. So.
Yeah. And I would say like every time you do something and you fail, it's good because that means you are one step closer to succeed. So the more you fail, the closer you get to being successful. So don't get discouraged and enjoy the process. And the more you fail, the better you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's like that quote from Wayne Gretzky, like that you miss every shot you don't take, right? So just you got to keep trying to achieve things, right? Even if you have to fail, or hundreds of times or thousands of times. I was thinking about that. Thomas Edison, failed like thousands of times before he invented the light bulb, right? So he's not giving up too easily. Part of it.
And I think a lot of people a dear friend of mine, Julie Mancuso, who's an Olympic athlete, Olympic medalist many times, whatever. And even when I won my world championship, your pinnacle, people think that's the moment. That moment is just like, okay, what do I do next? Right. So just know that, your life, whether it'll go through these roller coasters. So the best thing you can do is always just keep learning, keep trying, keep opening the door, try new things, because that'll keep a healthy lifestyle versus getting so fixated on something that if you don't achieve it, I don't make $1 million. I don't get the cool job. I don't get the perfect setup, whatever it may be. You're just going to get crushed versus I'm going to work as hard as I can today. May lead to me owning my own business. But you just got to, always have a goal or a dream for sure. I think that's a really good thing. And work hard and treat people the way that you would want to be treated. And I think you'll be incredibly successful.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, one thing that people say, like writing down goals, like in writing or telling other people about it kind of holds you more accountable to achieving that goal. Is that something you agree with? Is that something you do? Do you have written goals?
Yeah. We have like 15 notebooks here of videos that are coming. I'm just kidding. I just think, yes, I've always been, whether it's writing it down or having it in the back of your brain, but the most important thing, I'm one to know, because I had a pretty bad accident midway through my life here that led me to my beautiful wife and a lot of great things. So, everything happens in life. So I would say, just because you think you're meant to be something. So say I thought my whole life I was going to be one of the best ski racers in the world. Who would have known I would have ended up in Florida, playing with wings and kite surfing, and who knows, so just start taking those roads, and it's going to lead you to some special, incredible opportunities in life. So, I would just always be open to learning and take different paths, and you'd be pretty excited on your outcome.
Do you have anything to add to that, Gwen?
Yeah, I've done like so many things in my life, like change like path so many times, and I come from a family that's very traditional, like in a way, like you go to school for something, and then you get that job, and then you keep that job, and you get married, you have kids, and you retire, and that's it. But for me, like I've never been change is scary sometimes, but in the end, like you just have to be open, true to yourself first. Like when you do something and it's not fulfilling or it doesn't make you happy, then it's your responsibility to find what you want to do, what makes you happy. I think that's the priority, and then that will lead you to many different ways, and it's not going to be a straight line. But if you are open to trying new things, if you are like keep don't get stuck somewhere, and opportunities come all the time, so you just have to be open to it and change path. when it's needed.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree that you don't have to live a boring life. That's what you make of it, right? So encourage everyone to try to live their life to the fullest, right? So let's talk a little bit about the kind of the obsession with foiling. Like, once you get into foiling, you get that feeling, and it's like, I want to say it's like an addiction, or it's kind of like a drug that you want again and again, right? So is there a dark side to it? Is there like a downside, or is it just a healthy thing for you? Do you ever feel like there's a negative downside to it?
I mean, I think the negative would be like if you're in a relationship, you have to buy multiple foils for sure for your wife, for your kids. That would be the negative of it. No, I would say, I would say the negative that everybody is always worried about is it's danger. I'm going to get cut. I heard of people getting cut or hurt, and I would just say, look, yes, it's dangerous, but I would say you get into your car every day, that is 10 times more dangerous. And, everything is within reason. So if you take it slow and watch your YouTube channel and learn all this stuff, and, you can do it, and you can learn safely, and you may have some setbacks, but, that's all part of it. But I would say it's everything in life has its dangers. And if you're always worried about every danger, you're never going to do anything. So you kind of got to take a little bit of a risk and go talk to the girl that you want to talk to. If you don't talk to her, you're never going to get her for sure. So take that risk and talk to her. So there's so many things that it leads to in life. And I would say with foiling, the biggest one is danger. And I would say it's only as dangerous as you make it. I mean, Laird Hamilton and Benny and some of these guys doing, and Kyle Lenny doing the massive waves, that's, that's pushing the limit, but they're also, that is their challenge and learning of them, what is possible. And I think that's their level. Mine may be on a 2-foot piece of chop and I get scared and I go home. Could be that, but I'm okay with that. And it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different levels of risk. I just watched that movie about the guy, what's his name, Alex Honnold, climbing, free soloing El Capitan in Yosemite with like super hard sections, super high off of the ground. I mean, that was incredible. So compared to that, I think wing foiling is pretty safe compared to that. I mean, and especially on the water. But one thing I would say, if you're doing it on land, like on a skateboard or on ice, you do have to be careful, especially when you go fast. A lot of times you can't really hold up your head. So if you hit the ground and your head hits the ice or the ground, you can actually get pretty injured. So wearing a helmet and knee pads, elbow pads, and all that kind of stuff is definitely a good idea if you're not doing it in the water. And even in the water, I think wearing a helmet is a good idea when you're doing crazy moves like flips and stuff like that.
It's not going to hurt at all. I mean, any type of safety, impact vest to even full wetsuit so you don't get all scraped up when you're climbing up and down off the board, learning, booties for chafing the top of your feet. I know Gwen needed them the first day when I gave him all my wing stuff. He came home like bloody, and I was like, whoa.
The good thing is I was in Florida only for 2 days, but just from winging, I guess I only winged once, like one day out of the 2 days, and I still have a scar. Actually, I still have a scar on top of my feet from the skin being gone, and that was in September last year.
Yeah, that's actually a good point for people beginning. You tend to like really get rubbed raw on that deck pad, right? From sliding or kneeling and sliding off the deck pad and all that kind of stuff, and sliding back onto the deck pad. So that's something, maybe wear pants and maybe booties or whatever. Yeah, that's a good idea when you're starting out. And I've even seen people wearing knee pads or whatever on their boards. So anything like that's probably a good idea when you're starting out, right?
Yeah.
So what are your plans for the next couple of days, Gwen? Like if the wind comes back, what are you guys doing there?
I guess just filming. Hatteras has like really good like downwinders and waves, you know. So we just gonna be like filming whatever is good for the condition. It seems like in the next couple of days the wind could be kind of good, but we are hoping for a stronger wind. So yeah, just having fun, and I'm gonna be filming them having fun, and would be it would be fun.
How's the weather? How's the weather on the East Coast? Is it at Camp Hatteras? Is it warm enough to go? Like, you still need a full wetsuit, right? And water.
I
What's
mean,
the temperature?
Kiahi is going out with just a top, and most people have a shorty, um, but yeah, it's not too cold right now.
Okay. And then actually, I was going to ask you for drone video of when you're shooting with the drone and strong winds. What kind of drone do you use? And is there like a certain drone that's best for high wind conditions?
Well, the good thing is in Florida we have mostly like light wind, so that helps. But I use the DJI Air 2S, and I mean, you know, sometimes drone goes down, and that's part of the game. But uh, for strong wind, I think you just have to fly. I mean, DJI drones can't fly in 35 40-mile wind. You just have to keep it on sports mode, and you know you will be way slower going against the wind,
Yeah.
but
I just got a new drone. It's like a
FPV, yeah.
FPV with the headset, and then so I'm pretty excited to try it. A little bit nervous actually, but this thing's supposed to be super fast, so it should be good for flying in strong winds. I have the DJI Mavic Mini, and when it's windy, I can't even fly upwind. I mean, it's barely moving when you're flying into the wind, you know, so it's super slow. So that's why I
Yeah,
figured faster is better.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think the limitation for flying drones in high wind, you just have to know what's your drone's top speed, and you know, basically, like if your drone top speed is 30 miles an hour and you go in 40 miles per hour wind, you won't get your drone back because it won't be able to make it upwind. But so you just
Yeah.
have to know what's the top speed, and that's why going, you know, usually the drone has like some limitation, but as soon as you switch it to sports mode, it makes it like full speed. So if you go in high wind, you know, you have to switch it in sports mode, but you have to know what your drone top speed is, so the wind is not stronger than that.
Yeah, that's a good tip if you don't want
But
to
we
lose.
actually, in all our YouTube videos, we film with a helicopter.
Oh, nice. Good.
And Harry is the pilot.
Yes, it is. Yep, yep. It's I don't know why our budget seems to be off, but
So talk a little, like at the beginning of your videos, you always have like, you know, spreading the love and sharing the stoke and all that kind of stuff. So what does that mean to you, and like how do you try to achieve that?
I think that's just Gwen and I. So, I mean, dead honest truth. We just we're always positive, I would say, and yeah, it's just, you know, look, people want to be around positive energy, and I think it's just how we, truthfully, we go to the beach. I mean, that's just how we are. That's how I try to live my life, and I think the more people we touch doing it, the more people surrounded by us do it, and I think it kind of it radiates on itself. So I always believe that if you can pass it on, it really does keep going. And that's why we try to just be upbeat. I know a lot of people, it's tough times in the economy and tough times with work, and it's not always perfect, but you can always look at the best side of things and try to just, you know, motivate people and give them the passion to hopefully live their best life.
So how has your life changed, as you know, as a result of the pandemic, and what were the good things and the bad things for both of you?
Good things, bad things. I have a newborn child, and she is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And my wife turned into the most amazing mother. So absolutely super grateful and blessed. Did a YouTube thing with Gwen. Never thought I'd ever do that. That's amazing. We're helping people. Got multiple jobs that are absolutely incredible with lift foils and Cabrina kites. And I truly couldn't be more grateful, but definitely been working a lot. And negative, I would say, just can't see your family as much. But with Zoom and all these things, you can speak to people. And so you just look at the positive of it. That's what I would say. So for my side of things, I would say, I feel bad for a lot of people out there, but I would say I've been very lucky. So, Gwen?
What
Yeah,
about
I
you,
mean,
Gwen?
for me, like, I grew up, growing up in France. My entire family is still in France. So since COVID, I basically haven't been able to go back there. So I haven't been back for about 2 years. So that's definitely like the negative part of the pandemic. But other than that, I mean, here I'm like, living the dream. Could not have a better life. And I mean, yeah, it was like just a massive change from the day I met Damien, because I don't know, I was in Idaho, which is great, but I'm very passionate about the ocean, and I've always been really wanting to get involved in water sports, and I never really saw how that would maybe like be like possible, because I'm not a pro rider. I would never be involved with any brand on that level. So, but then, you know, it, I met Damien, and it was all about like helping people, and that's what we did. Is I'm super grateful for all of that and where it got me today.
Gwen's going to be on the Wing World Tour here next year. So get her. His claim to fame is just starting. So I started with YouTube with this old guy, and now I'm world champion from France.
So you, Damien, you're sponsored by Liftfoil and Cabrina.
Yeah, I work for the companies, and I've been a very lucky athlete and was with a lot of companies, and yeah, I work for Liftfoils. I'm the U.S. sales manager, and with Cabrina, I'm a Southeast sales rep, and I've been working with Cabrina for over 20 some years. And Lift was kind of the company when foils started. I was kind of the kite surfer at the time, pushing the limits, and that's kind of where the whole foiling started. I don't know, that was like 9 or so years ago. I think they first kind of foils hit the US, and foiling's been around forever, but kind of made the move to get it kind of going. So yeah.
So Liftfoils is based in Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Have you been to their factory, and have you seen their manufacturing and stuff like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They got an awesome setup, and it's just a beautiful family. They're super good people, and they created this e-foil, which is now the new mecca of foiling. Is just to the masses. It makes it really easy. You got a remote, and everything's going electric, so it's dead quiet. It's surreal, and I think that's kind of really neat to be a part of it, as that's been growing. And yeah, it's going gangbusters. Anything foiling is pretty much going through the roof, so it's pretty special. And then,
Yeah.
of course, Cabrina is like, Pete Cabrina has been a legend in the industry for many years, and still is. And just always an innovative brand. And recently, my dear friend took over the company, and they're just on this incredible stage to just share, I would say, that message back, like the beer. They're really trying to take it to another level to help people, and instead of just making a product that is a product that everybody can make or get knocked off and just have something in the market. They're really trying to make something that can better people's lives or goals or whatever it may be. And I think to me, that's a beautiful thing. So.
Yeah, great. So, is there, like, I always like to ask, who else can I interview for the show? Like, do you have any recommendations of people I should talk to?
Yeah, right off the bat, when you kind of mentioned something earlier, I was thinking Grant Corrigan with High Five Foundation. He's actually a paraplegic, total rock star, very inspiring. I touched on Julie Mancuso. She's a incredible human. But I think Grant Corrigan would be pretty awesome. That would probably be a pretty special one for you. He's an incredible human. So
Cool.
because
Yeah.
you already got Gwen, so we're done.
Okay.
I would say John Modica. You should have John Modica is also doing amazing things.
John Mordecai.
Yeah, John Modica is actually my dear friend who took over Cabrina, and he truly is the person that you would never know would run or own a company, but his passion is so powerful of making you if it was a t-shirt, he would just literally buy, rip, cut 50 different t-shirts, and he'd be like, now it's perfect. And you would just be like, well, I just had this t-shirt for 10 years. I don't know. He's just so on it to make it the best it can be for that, whatever it is, fins, board. It's pretty spectacular and a humble human. So it's pretty neat.
Great. Yeah. I'll ask you for their contact information.
Sure.
So, it's been like an hour and a half almost. So thanks for taking the time. And I always like to say, like, from the YouTube analytics, I can see that only about 5% of the people are still watching at the very end. It kind of trails off, But do you have any special message for those that are still with us, still listening?
Oh man, just look, get up off your seat, do something, because everybody out there is like, I want to start this business or try this or do that. And you're just going to keep wanting to do it. You got to get up and do it. And that individual right there with Gwen, that kid who's gotten up, did it, and he's one incredible human.
Looks super familiar.
So who's that with you now, Gwen?
That's Evan Netch. What's going on?
Evan.
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Evan is literally one of the most skilled kiters on the planet. When I see
what's
that,
up, guys?
he
Sorry,
is
I'm getting
absolutely incredible. So, we got the whole gang, Kiahi.
Yeah, he's here.
The whole Karina team up there. They're truly superstars. One, incredible humans. Two, incredible athletes. And they all were driven to just get up and make it happen. And I knew Evan when he was riding cones with a trainer kite in the grass, and he was this little kid. He wouldn't talk to you, and now he's an incredible salesperson. He's an incredible athlete. He's an incredible human, and I think it's just a matter of talking to people and open those doors. So anybody still listening, which we hope you are, man, just do what you want to do. There's no reason why you can't do it. Don't ever set yourself short. You can do it. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of my takeaway from this conversation, is that you can live the life you want to live. There's no reason to do something you don't enjoy, right? There's always possibilities for, following your passion and doing what you love, I think.
100%. Yeah. And we appreciate you so much for having us on. I mean, it's just another place to help, hopefully we can touch one person, and to us, that's everything if we can help somebody.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good way to end it. Any last words from you, Gwen?
No, yeah, thank you so much. And go out there and live your dream. It's, if you keep at it, it will happen.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and check out all those great instructional videos. If you're getting into wing foiling, definitely good stuff you guys are putting out. So thanks for doing that, and you're helping basically drive the sport forward, I think, with those really good tutorials, because in other sports they're not really available necessarily. It's kind of, especially that kind of high quality content is not really available for a lot of things. So thanks for doing that. Doing a great service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for your time. Take care. Enjoy the evening. Aloha.
Thank you so much.
Aloha.
All right. Okay, friends. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end again. Thanks, Damien and Gwen, for joining me for this show. Thought it was another really great episode. Just a couple of announcements. Last Tuesday, I did a live video on YouTube where I just kind of talked about what's new at Blue Planet, answered some questions that I had on YouTube from comments, and then also had some live questions come in through the chat. And the show was joined by people from all over the world. It was 7 a.m. in Hawaii. In Europe, it was 7 p.m. And then on the mainland, it was early afternoon. So people joined us from all over the place, which was really cool. So I thought it was fun to do that. And I'm going to start doing a weekly show every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. I'm going to do a live show. So I hope you can join me for that next live show. I'm going to have the link down below for that video. And if you can join it live and post some comments or questions, that's always appreciated. You can always watch it later as well, so that's not a problem. So thanks again, Damien and Gwen, for joining me. Thanks for posting great instructional videos for everyone out there learning how to wing foil. It's a great service to the community. So thank you everyone for watching. Please join us again next time for another Blue Planet show. Aloha, and see you on the water.